This is a dream I had last night. It relates to the subject of Russian espionage and is very involved. I was sent to investigate a device that the Russians had developed for use underwater. It was kind of like a fishing lure that had a nuclear device on it at the end, which didn't make sense because it was kind of heavy. It resembled a metal-shaped chandelier. If someone snagged it, the device would go off. When I arrived, I had to contact different people who referred me to the eventual contact. I had never known that my own father was involved in this espionage, but he knew about the Russians having developed this device himself. I saw him with this ultimate contact I found, and he was talking Russian with him. Anyway, the Russians find out about this rendezvous and my mother and I were there too. Some way or another, the Russians caused us to make a mistake and the nuke detonates underwater. We had met in a kind of underground warehouse and there was an opening in the floor to a water outlet that people could use as a scuba diving platform. The bomb killed me, my mother, the Russians, and the apparent base we were located in. Then it got really weird because we were dead, but we still were there trying to figure out how to stop the espionage that the Russians had started with this nuke. So this dream wasn't very well thought out. Sometimes we were doing surveillance of the device underwater, learning how it worked, and other times we had to find other contacts who helped us find where it was. The first contact I met when I arrived in Russia looked like a gypsy. She kind of came across like a psychic, someone who read palms and made readings for people. The rest were like shadowy kinds of people who just kept referring me to others who knew about the device but nothing else. Eventually, I met the contact who works within the Russian military and security agency, the KGB I think. He told me about how the device worked and showed it to me, saying it would attach to a fishing wire kind of apparatus. Whenever it was pulled, let's say by a boat or fishing rod, it made different movements in the water that potentially would attract a fish or large marine animal. When it snagged the device, the person who deployed the device had to be far away, otherwise they'd be incinerated by the device exploding. It was about 1 megaton I think. The Russians weren't stupid about wanting to keep this thing secret, that's why they let me continue investigating until I knew enough, and then they pounced on me. But, before I could get away, something happened about the device and it went off, killing me, my mother, my father, the Russian military liaison officer, the base of military officers, everything within 30 miles of ground zero. Then, I found I was still existing with my mother and we tried to figure out what happened. Then I went on with the mission to try to sabotage the weapon before the Russians could use it against the United States. As I remember the dream, the emphasis was that I was sent as an exchange student to Russia to study their versions of science technology as a front to planning out an espionage plan to destroy the nuclear weapon. The purpose of the device was to deploy several into the United States near known port cities, then they would explode and kill massive amounts of the population all at one time. Then no one would know that these detonations occurred underwater and not from ICBM or aircraft drops. Though this device sounds like it had many flaws, it also had many advantages. Some of these have been described already, but the main advantage is that it was small enough to pass for something that wouldn't be detectable by our customs people unless they had Geiger counters with them. It was highly radioactive but not heavy enough to be immobile. Anyone could have carried this type of device with ease anywhere in the world. Of course, being easily deployed, it could have been dropped by agents who could have rigged them with miniature motors that could move through the water into the ports without endangering their own people from being killed by the detonation. In other words, with the right deployment, these weapons could have been undetectable and completely self-contained.
Whoa! Oh! What the? No! Oh shit! Oh shit! No, baby! Oh no!
Are we dangerous here?
Yeah, we're dangerous. Oh!
Are you filming?
Yes, I'm filming! Let's go.
Let's go. Take the stairs.
Come on. Oh. No.
Take the stairs.
Holy